All right, Steelers Nation, welcome back. Tonight, we are diving deep into the latest updates surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers as they prepare for another preseason matchup. And let me tell you, there's more nuance here than meets the eye. While on the surface it might seem like just another game, there are layers of strategy, player evaluation, and subtle developments that make following these preseason contests fascinating for anyone who truly loves football. So let's get into it. The Steelers are set to face the Carolina Panthers at 7:05 p.m. at Bank of America Stadium. At first glance, the matchup might not appear to be brimming with drama or headline-making roster battles. But if you look closer, every preseason snap carries meaning, even if it doesn't show up in box scores or get talked about in highlight reels. The story tonight isn't about a headline quarterback controversy or a major positional shakeup, but it's about the way Pittsburgh is managing its depth, experimenting with offensive sequences, and preparing both its starters and backups for the season ahead. Some fans might ask why certain players aren't seeing the field or why the starters are limited in their snaps. And the simple truth is that the Steelers, like all NFL teams, approach the preseason with a very measured, strategic lens. They're not here to risk injury unnecessarily. They're not here to blow the roof off the stadium with fireworks. And they're not here to redefine the league on game, one of the exhibition schedule. The focus is on preparation, execution, and evaluation. And that's a mindset that Mike Tomlin has honed over his years leading this team. Speaking of personnel, there are 4 players who are confirmed out for reasons beyond health tonight: Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, TJ Watt, and Cam Hayward. That's a significant chunk of both leadership and talent, but it opens up opportunities for others to step up, particularly on offense. Mason Rudolph will be taking snaps, supported by the offensive line and with Caleb Johnson seeing action, and we might even get glimpses of Jaylen Warren on running plays. What makes this intriguing isn't just the individual performance, but the way the offense functions differently depending on the quarterback in play. The dynamics change, the timing shifts subtly, and the play calling adjusts, all while staying true to the underlying system that Arthur Smith has meticulously implemented. Smith's approach is not rigid, it's adaptable. When Rodgers is on the field, the offense looks one way, and when Rudolph is taking snaps, the same plays can look entirely different because of how each quarterback interprets the scheme, how they handle reads, and how they communicate with the offensive personnel around them. This dual approach, the ability to seamlessly pivot between 2 distinct styles without derailing the offensive identity, is a testament to both the coordinator and the quarterback room. It's rare to find a situation in the NFL where the offense is not defined by a single quarterback's personality or skill set. This is something fans don't often see on game day, especially during the regular season, but preseason provides the perfect laboratory to observe these subtleties. What's also notable, and perhaps most encouraging, is the professionalism and selflessness within the quarterback room itself. Both Rodgers and Rudolph are contributing to the collective success, and neither is trying to dominate the narrative or claim the offense as solely theirs. It's a collaborative environment where the focus is entirely team first, and for the Steelers, that's a huge positive. The past few weeks, in terms of practices and early preseason observation, have given an early impression that for the first time in a long while, there is stability at quarterback. You have 2 adults in the room, both capable, both mature, and a coordinator who prioritizes the offense over personal accolades or ego. That's not a small detail. That's a fundamental shift in culture that can have ripple effects throughout the team. Moving to the games themselves, it's important to remember that the preseason is inherently vanilla. All 32 NFL teams play simplified schemes, and you won't see elaborate or experimental formations. There are no big surprises, no hidden tricks, and no jaw-dropping plays that will redefine a player's trajectory in the league. But within this apparent simplicity, coaches are still evaluating minute details. The efficiency of pass protection, the execution of run plays, how receivers get off the line against press coverage, and how young defensive backs handle complex reads. These small details, often unnoticed by casual viewers, are what shape the regular season roster and influence game plans once the stakes are real. Preseason isn't about spectacle. It's about intelligence, assessment, and long-term vision. There's also a lot of strategic interaction that goes unnoticed between teams. Joint practices, for instance, can offer more valuable evaluation opportunities than an actual preseason game. Coaches can coordinate specific drills, test certain matchups, and evaluate players in controlled environments that mimic real game situations without the risks inherent in a full-speed exhibition. It's during these sessions that the most insightful observations are made. And for teams like the Steelers, it allows the coaching staff to identify strengths, weaknesses, and potential contributors in ways that a typical preseason game cannot. When you think about the offensive line, running backs, and passing game coordination, it's these rehearsed sequences and controlled evaluations that provide the most actionable feedback. This is also why watching a player like Mason Rudolph in a limited set of snaps can still be informative. The coaches aren't looking for highlight reels. They're assessing decision-making, composure under pressure, timing, and chemistry with receivers and blockers. Every pass, every handoff, every defensive read contributes to a much larger puzzle, and understanding that context is key to appreciating preseason football on a deeper level. And let's not overlook the defensive side. While the Steelers are sitting several key starters, this doesn't diminish the value of what the backup and rotational players are experiencing. It's an opportunity for young linebackers to test their reads, for secondary players to work through coverage assignments, and for situational specialists to make their case for regular season snaps. It's not glamorous. It doesn't generate viral clips, but it's critical for building depth and resilience across the roster. Continuing with the Steelers' journey through preseason evaluations, what really stands out is the meticulous attention to detail that Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff apply to each practice, snap, and game situation. While fans might be impatient to see explosive plays or to assess whether a backup quarterback can step into the spotlight, the reality is that much of the preseason is about subtle adjustments and foundational work that pays off when the regular season intensity ramps up. Every route, every block, every defensive alignment is scrutinized, not for spectacle but for insight. The Steelers have long been a team that values preparation over flair, and this preseason is no different. Watching the offense operate with Mason Rudolph at the helm provides clues about the team's depth and the way the offensive line communicates under pressure, even in a game setting that intentionally avoids high-risk plays. Rudolph's decision-making and timing, combined with the responses of receivers and running backs, create a living laboratory where coaches can observe tendencies, identify gaps, and test situational plays that might be critical once the games count for real. On the other side, when Aaron Rodgers is involved in practice sessions or drills, the nuances shift. Rodgers brings a unique ability to read defenses pre-snap, adjust protections, and vary his rhythm, which forces the offense to respond differently than it would with Rudolph. This duality within a single system is rare in professional football, and it offers the Steelers flexibility that many teams simply do not have. The coaching staff can prepare multiple game plans with the confidence that the quarterbacks can execute according to their own strengths, without compromising the identity of the offense. It is a delicate balance, but one that has been cultivated carefully over months of planning and coordination. Another critical factor is the culture within the quarterback room. Observers have noted a sense of shared responsibility and respect, where both Rodgers and Rudolph recognize that the team's success depends on collaboration rather than individual glory. There is no jockeying for attention or attempts to dominate the narrative. Instead, each quarterback contributes to the development of the other and to the refinement of the offense as a whole. This maturity at the top is reinforced by a coordinator whose approach prioritizes team effectiveness over personal recognition. Such a culture not only stabilizes the quarterback position, but also influences the entire roster, fostering a professional environment where players understand the value of preparation, adaptability, and situational awareness. Turning back to the preseason game environment itself, the nature of these contests cannot be understated. Coaches understand that the simplified, vanilla approach allows for maximum assessment without risking injuries to key contributors. Playbooks are streamlined, audibles are limited, and the focus is on fundamentals executed under controlled conditions. While casual fans might view this as unexciting, Those who look closely can see the strategic evaluations in motion. Offensive linemen test communication and cohesion. Running backs practice reads and vision in different blocking schemes, and receivers work on timing and route precision against varied coverages. Even the defensive personnel who are rotated and gain exposure to offensive formations and tendencies, sharpening their situational instincts. In addition, preseason provides a platform to evaluate depth chart adjustments, particularly for special teams. Punters, kickers, and returners are given opportunities to demonstrate consistency, adaptability, and performance under game-like conditions. These subtle assessments are critical because, in the NFL, special teams can be the difference between winning and losing, and teams that understand this often gain an edge over opponents who underestimate the impact of these specialists. The collaborative opportunities between teams in preseason, especially during joint practices, are another layer of complexity. Coaches can coordinate drills to test specific skills or tendencies, align matchups to challenge their players, and explore strategies that may not be feasible in the regular season due to competitive secrecy. These controlled interactions allow for targeted evaluation while maintaining a low-risk environment. The Steelers, in particular, have used these joint practices to refine offensive and defensive cohesion, experiment with personnel combinations, and ensure that backups are prepared to contribute meaningfully if called upon during the regular season. Even without the marquee players on the field, these sessions are essential to building a resilient, adaptable team capable of responding to injuries, opponent adjustments, and the unpredictable nature of a full NFL schedule. Another critical aspect of this preseason is the way the team balances preparation for immediate opponents with long-term strategic planning. While the exhibition games themselves provide limited competitive insight, the practices surrounding them, along with film study and scenario-based training, equip players and coaches to address the challenges of the regular season. For example, offensive line units can work on handling stunts and blitzes in controlled scenarios, while defensive backs practice coverage adjustments and recognition of route combinations. The opportunity to simulate high-pressure situations without the consequences of a real game loss allows the Steelers to stress test both individual and collective performance. This focus on process over immediate outcome is emblematic of the Tomlin era, where building a disciplined, intelligent, and versatile team has often taken precedence over short-term spectacle. Preseason also highlights the evolving role of coordinators in modern football. Arthur Smith's approach to managing two quarterbacks with distinct styles demonstrates how coaching requires adaptability, foresight, and the ability to foster player confidence. Rather than imposing a one-size-fits-all system, Smith tailors a strategy to maximize each quarterback's strengths while preserving the integrity of the offense. This flexibility ensures that the team remains prepared for unforeseen developments, whether that involves injuries, performance fluctuations, or in-game adjustments during the regular season. Equally important is the integration of younger players and depth contributors into this system. Preseason snaps for running backs, wide receivers, linebackers, and secondary players are more than mere exercises. They are real-time tests of comprehension, execution, and adaptability. Coaches observe how players react under pressure, communicate with teammates, and maintain alignment and discipline across plays. Even minor successes or failures can influence roster decisions, position battles, and future playing time, making each moment on the field a valuable piece of the evaluation puzzle. One of the most intriguing aspects of following the Steelers during preseason is the ability to watch these developmental narratives unfold. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers have begun circulating through the NFL landscape, hinting at a seismic shift in defensive power as the Pittsburgh Steelers reportedly secure a deal with none other than Aaron Donald. If the murmurs are true, the Steelers' defensive front would transform overnight into something straight out of a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Analysts, insiders, and fans alike are buzzing with speculation, imagining the chaos that could ensue when Donald's relentless interior pass rush collides with Pittsburgh's already aggressive defensive scheme. The Steelers, long celebrated for their storied defensive tradition, appear poised to take it to an entirely new level, combining historical grit with one of the most feared defensive talents in the modern game. Conversations in bars, locker rooms, and social media are ablaze with conjecture about just how disruptive this partnership could become, as Donald has consistently demonstrated the uncanny ability to single-handedly alter offensive game plans. If the whispers hold weight, the Steelers' roster could emerge as a nearly unbreachable fortress, and the mere thought of facing a front line led by Donald sends chills through anyone imagining offensive success against them. Speculation suggests this move might not just be about one player, but about signaling a renewed commitment to defensive dominance in an era increasingly dominated by high-octane offenses. Every touchdown, every play action, every pocket collapse could now carry an element of inevitable danger, amplifying the aura of unpredictability that surrounds Pittsburgh. Observers are already pondering how opposing coordinators might adjust, aware that any miscalculation could lead to catastrophic results on the scoreboard. The rumor alone seems potent enough to shift psychological momentum even before the season commences. Experts debate how such a signing might influence draft strategy, salary cap management, and even free agent interest, imagining the cascading effects of attracting a talent like Donald to a franchise with a legacy of defensive identity. Conversations across the league speculate about the culture change, leadership dynamics, and even mentoring potential for younger players, as Donald's presence could redefine expectations for excellence and accountability within the locker room. Sources hint at clandestine meetings, phone calls, and late-night negotiations that suggest the deal was months in the making, fueled by Pittsburgh's calculated vision for defensive supremacy. While nothing is officially confirmed, the buzz itself has fans' imaginations running wild, creating an almost tangible anticipation in the air surrounding Heinz Field, as if the city itself senses the coming storm of pressure, sacks, and relentless pursuit that could define an entire season. The mere idea of Aaron Donald patrolling Pittsburgh's defensive trenches feels like the perfect storm of talent and opportunity, merging legendary tradition with modern dominance in a way that few teams could realistically hope to emulate. Rumors, whether true or not, have a way of taking on lives of their own, and in this case, the narrative alone promises headlines, discussions, and sleepless nights for coordinators across the league. The Steelers, historically celebrated for their defense-first mentality, would now appear to be setting the bar not just high, but nearly unreachable, creating a scenario where opposing offenses must constantly calculate the risk of facing a defensive juggernaut of unprecedented ferocity. Fans speculate endlessly about game day scenarios, imagining Donald's impact against mobile quarterbacks, fast offensive lines, and cunning play callers, all while the league collectively holds its breath. If this acquisition comes to fruition, it could mark a turning point in Pittsburgh's modern football story, elevating the franchise's defensive narrative to legendary status. Even as the rumor mill churns, the thought of watching Donald wreak havoc in black and gold seems almost too tantalizing to resist. In the realm of NFL gossip, such whispers have the uncanny ability to shape expectations, alter perceptions, and set the stage for a season defined by defensive terror. The city, the fans, the league, and perhaps even Donald himself are caught in the swirl of speculation, teetering between disbelief and sheer excitement, as each new hint fuels a growing sense of anticipation. It is in these moments, when rumor and reality intertwine, that legends are quietly whispered into existence, long before the first whistle ever blows. The Steelers' potential acquisition of Aaron Donald, if true, could redefine not only their defensive strategy, but the very psyche of the NFL's competitive landscape, turning every snap into a gamble and every offensive drive into a battle against an almost mythical force. Observers debate endlessly about what this move signals for the rest of the league, pondering which franchises might scramble to replicate Pittsburgh's audacious approach. Whether through subtle shifts in coaching philosophy or radical changes in roster construction, the ripple effects could be felt far beyond Heinz Field, as teams attempt to adapt to the new reality of a Steelers defense featuring arguably the most fearsome interior defensive lineman of the modern era. The Steelers' acquisition of Aaron Donald, according to persistent rumors, represents more than a simple roster upgrade. It signals an era of intimidation, dominance, and strategic recalibration that could send tremors throughout the league. Donald, widely regarded as one of the most disruptive defensive forces of his generation, has the rare ability to redefine a team's identity simply through his presence on the field. Sources whisper about clandestine discussions that hint at the meticulous planning behind the potential signing, with Pittsburgh aiming to construct a defensive powerhouse that forces opponents to alter their schemes at a fundamental level. Analysts speculate endlessly about the synergy between Donald and Pittsburgh's existing defensive stalwarts, envisioning a relentless pass rush and an impenetrable interior line that would leave quarterbacks scrambling and offensive lines questioning their very purpose. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.